You guys good?
Sure, go ahead. We don't prepare for this shit.
I know. Hey everybody, welcome to the Whitey White Guy Show. I'm Whitey, this is Cracker, and today we're going to review the film Fried Green Tomatoes, which came out in
93? Sure.
91.
Does it matter?
I'm looking at Mrs. Cracker, and she's not looking back.
Hi.
What year did this come out? Yeah, somewhere between 1965 and yesterday. So,
And this was actually recommended. This review was recommended by Mrs. Cracker.
by Mrs. Cracker.
And she recommended this like when we first started doing this show.
Yeah, and we kept putting it off and putting it off. Did you like this movie, Mrs. Cracker? So she's a big fan.
You know what it was? I know why you're finally doing this because you're stealing our Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I owe you guys.
And that's why.
Guys. So, as a synopsis,
Kathy Bates meets old Jessica Tandy. Is it in a nursing home or a hospital?
I feel like a nursing home.
Okay.
It's like a nursing home.
And she's telling the story of.
Hold on, she's there because her husband's aunt is there.
Hey, Mrs. Cracker, make sure you correct us on anything.
It's something like that. And so Jessica Tandy
is telling the story of Iggy.
They just randomly meet in the lobby, and then Forrest Gump. It's just like Forrest Gump. It's like, let me tell you a story about a thing that happened in the past that involves me and people. And only she does it. You don't know that.
You know that involves her.
Yeah, it involves her. She's saying it as if it happened to other people. She knows.
This is Forrest Gump with chicks. Just like Ghostbusters is not with chicks.
Let's not talk about that. Ghostbusters bullshit. No mo. No mo. It's hard on my soul. Okay, I'm sorry. So then what happens? Forrest Gump happens.
Yeah, it's basically the story of Iggy, who is played by Mary Stuart Masterson, I think, and
a hot blonde, and then there's
a hot blonde, and then there's a decent-looking brunette.
I think she's hot.
Decent-looking brunette, and it's their relationship. But at first, we learn about the blonde when she's a young girl.
And this all takes place in when she's a young girl. Is probably the very early World War I just ended. And she's 6, yeah. And then later on is the 1930s.
Okay. That's it.
That's it. Well, wait, okay. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe. And then, there's crime, there's characters. And then Forrest Gump happens. So the little blonde girl, her older brother,
played by Chris O'Donnell,
played by Robin from the...
Very likable Chris O'Donnell. This is not Batman and Robin Chris O'Donnell.
Really? That's the only time he's not likable. He's usually pretty likable.
Yeah, he's usually pretty good.
So he gets killed by a train. That's a theme throughout the film. Mm-hmm. The little blonde girl goes into like isolation. Yeah. And then years.
She's like this little Dennis the Menace character.
She's Dennis the Menace. She's Bart Simpson. Very Bart Simpson.
Pretty much.
And years later, she's now 18, and the brother who died, his girlfriend who loved him dearly. Mm-hmm. The mom of the blonde says, like, go help her. She's gone, things have gone awry. Help her out, Forrest Gump. But she's very Bart Simpson. She gambles, she drinks, she smokes. I don't know if she sleeps around, but she's like there. It's her mom. It's very hoity-toity, upper class, very clean cut. Go to church every Sunday.
And she's the complete opposite.
She's the opposite. She's the black sheep. She's the troublemaker. And so the brunette name.
What's the brunette's name in the movie? There's Iggy. Who's the other girl?
Helen.
You've seen that movie 100 times.
The other girl.
Okay.
I think is attractive. She's very clean cut and everything. She ends up with Iggy, and instead of her bringing Iggy over to goodness and hoity-toityness, she brings the blonde brings the brunette into trouble and mayhem.
Right, because the brunette is in an abusive relationship.
Yes.
And she rescues her from
which
that.
happens a little later. So, but you're Forrest Gumping to that, and then back to the old lady in the old folks home, and then what's her name?
Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates is in a relationship where there's not much of a relationship, and her husband just comes home every day, and she makes him food, and she dresses up for him, and everything.
He doesn't appreciate her.
He doesn't even notice. He just goes in and sits down and watches baseball.
Yeah, she's a very ignored wife.
Yes.
She she wants to dress sexy for him, even though you don't ever want to imagine Kathy Bates sexy. But she tries to keep their love life.
But he's also a heavy set guy, so it's like
he is. If you've ever seen the Ernest movies, he's the fat guy. Ernest's buddy. Chuck and Bobby. He's Chuck.
Yeah.
But anyways, he's this schlub, and she's trying to save her marriage because, like you said, he just wants to come home and watch baseball.
She's going to all these groups, these strong women feminism groups. It's not doing any good. And the whole time I'm just like, lady, all you need to do is swallow and your problems are solved. Like it's not complicated, lady. But she's trying to revive her sex life and she feels very, there you have it.
Dark-haired girl is Mary Louise Parker.
Okay. Mary Lou Parker.
You can kind of see her.
Yeah.
She's cute.
Can't see anything. It's a little light.
There you go.
There you have it.
Yeah, see.
She's up in the top left there.
Yep.
She's good looking.
Yep. Anyways.
And
this came out in 91.
91. So Kathy Bates is very much she's a chronic victim. All the time she gets pushed around at the shop at the grocery store, and she's just like depressed because her life isn't much. And then through the Forrest Gumping of the story, she learns to be powerful and find her inner strength and basically do the shit she could have been doing the whole time. Never learns to swallow. And
that you know of.
That we know of.
That could be the after the credits.
After the credits, she's like, now I get it. And then
I like you told me not to bring it up, but we were talking about Ghost.
In the butt. Just swallow and let him do anal, and he'll eat your chicken, and you'll be fine.
We were talking about Ghostbusters. You were saying how it's not strong female characters. This has 2.5 strong female characters. Idgie the blonde, is a very strong female character. Kathy Bates eventually becomes this strong female character. And then Mary Louise Parker, we just talked about the brown hair, eventually does.
They really, all of them, and this is the difference between good writing and Ghostbusters 3, because the Ghostbusters 3 had no characters, no character arcs. They're just dumb and creep jokes. This had great character. They all go through a journey, and they all learn and develop and have obstacles before them. All this stuff.
There's also a subplot. They have this black family that lives near them, and I guess the dad or the head male figure is called Big George.
Big George.
And he's very likable too. And there's a subplot where a man goes missing.
I know he's going on. He goes missing, you said.
The man goes missing, and of course, Big George, being a black guy in the South in the 30s, of course, he's the one that they say did it. So there is a trial going on.
That's where.
There's a trial going on, them trying to find Big George innocent, and then eventually you find out what really happened.
You have that Zippo? I need to light my balls on fire.
I take it you didn't like that whole part?
I'm a political science major, took American legal courses, and I'm going, no.
Not even in the 30s?
No. Just stop. But I know you need that scene because their whole conversation starts with the old lady in the lobby of the old folks home is like, I can't believe they said that Idgie murdered that guy. And that begins the whole thing. The whole Forrest Gumping happens from there.
Ruth. Good job.
Nice.
Good thing we did this in here.
Ruth could swallow. So the point is, we were at the trial part. It's like, no.
Really?
There's a bit where the abusive husband who abuses Ruth, and at one point, very brutal guy, kicks her down like the stairs, not like tumble, like flies 15 feet through the air and lands on her pregnancy. It's like, geez, dude. Who is played in a bunch of roles. He's always played a nice guy, so it's kind of like, wow. He was in Justified. He played the boss to the dude, and then he was in the Tom Hanks movie where he's on the island.
Castaway.
He was in Castaway.
He was Wilson?
He was Tom Hanks' buddy, but he always plays a nice friendly guy. So here he's like a villain. We're like, whoa, dude. So that was cool.
Meaner husband than Ted from Earth Girls.
Yes, much more deserving of falling in love with a cat. But so you see him get hit in the head with a shovel, then you don't know what happened. So there's a mystery. What happened to the guy? And then a sheriff from another town comes over from that guy where that guy lives to this town where the story's taking place, and they're like, we might have to take you back to, they're in what, Georgia? They might have to take you out of Alabama. And I'm like, no, they don't. No, they wouldn't. What? You get whatever happens. It took place in that town.
But were those laws in place back in that time period?
Since the United States Constitution, this
Okay.
is habeas corpus, and it's habeas corpus. So the point is, it's like the Grady character is a sheriff of this little town who's in love with the blonde who wants to marry her. That's his jurisdiction. So if the murder took place there, he would be the investigating sheriff. And if anything else, it wouldn't be the feds because it's not across state lines. So if anything, it'd be the marshals. Okay. The marshal service would handle this, not that sheriff. So I'm like, no.
Go ahead and say it loud. You don't have to whisper.
I know, but hold on. So at one point they're like, we might have to take you over to Georgia or Alabama. And I'm like, for what? Like, you're gonna try it in that town. That's where the jurisdiction is.
It's a movie.
But the problem is,
no, it's a realistic
movie. Everything has been very realistic, based in Earth, based in reality. All things that could happen. They can't fly or nothing. Nobody's got superpowers. And so here's
Big George is not steel.
And so at one point, like the KKK shows up and is whipping Big George. So it's all very dramatic, very serious, and then it's like there it goes, like TV soap opera bed, and I'm like, the tone shift there, and of course, they finally do it right where it's like the judge is like, you don't even have a body, and now you don't have you have this the preacher guy lies to say that the blonde chick was there somewhere else the whole time, couldn't have done it. I'm like, okay, you don't have a body. Habeas corpus means show me the body, show me the corpse. If you don't have a corpse, you don't have a trial. You have to prove the guy's dead.
Right.
You have to prove where the crime took place. So it's like everything is very serious to that point, very down to earth, very believable, very physics. And then it goes like soap TV, daytime TV. And I'm like, where'd this come from?
Yeah.
And then Ruth's son gets hit by a train, loses his arm, and then she gets spoilers. She gets cancer and dies, and it's just like
1991.
It's
a very sad
but
scene.
it's like piling on. It's like, God, is anybody not like George is gonna have to come around like they got canceled. Got cancer down here in my Bojangles. They got to remove that. And then another guy comes back and he's like, and then the drunk guy. And it's just like, is there anybody whose life is going well? I just have one guy come around the corner and be like, my day's doing fine. I just won the sweepstakes. Something. Everybody's got a. It's like, damn, you got enough. But again, everything was excellent.
Yeah.
This film is beautiful. Beautiful. Captures the period great. The performances are all excellent. I like the fact that Kathy Bates finds her inner strength.
Yes.
And it's like takes her life into her hands.
You see this in the trailer, but one of my favorite scenes is, it's an ongoing, joke. She's at the supermarket and she's not aggressive enough to get her parking space.
Yep.
So eventually there's, she's meek and weak and everything.
Yeah.
But by the end of the film, after listening to the story about Iggy and everything and going through these classes, she loses the parking space to a bunch of young bitches. And she said, what was the line? Like, I'm sorry,
they
old
were
lady.
Like, sorry, we're younger and we're faster. And then she hits the car.
She hits the car. She says, sorry, I'm older and more insured.
I have better insurance.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was a great turning point for her character.
She learns to take control of her life.
Doesn't she get back at her husband by basically telling him to quit fucking around or, make something of himself?
More or less.
There's no real big thing there.
She's always trying to fix the perfect meal for him and everything.
She's like, cook your own food is basically.
Okay. But she gives him her what's on her mind type of thing.
Yeah.
And then finally she just is.
They don't.
Hands him a piece of lettuce and a grape.
Yeah, very very healthy food. Yeah, but she doesn't like cheat on him or get divorced or
No.
anything
No.
huge.
She
She
wants
just
to
kind
make
of
this
it's
work.
like this is the line in the sand,
Mhm.
and I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be constantly trying to please you all the
So
time.
that's
And
what
then
you know.
and he goes, "Are you trying to kill me?" She goes, "No, if I was trying to kill you, you'd use my hand."
Yeah.
That was cool. That was cool.
So
So
yeah, she
it's
through the story, through the Forrest Gumping,
Mhm.
she finds her inner strength,
And
and I
that's
thought I was
great.
fine with that. I was.
Like I said, we just said the way it's shot, the set design,
Hmm.
the acting is fantastic on everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got a great cast. Chemistry between the two leads are fantastic.
Yeah,
I know in the book they become lesbians with each other.
I
You
thought
could
it was
see this
going
in
that
you
way.
could see
I
this in
thought
the
they were
film,
gonna end up.
but you could tell that they could fall in love with
I
each
thought
other.
they would be scissoring by halfway through. Scissor me,
But yeah,
Xerxes.
like I said, we have the strong female characters. You know, the character development. You know,
Yep.
this is a chick flick on the Whitey the White Guy show. A man who hates chicks.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Give it a thumbs up to Fried Green Tomatoes.
I would say
You don't ever
thumb,
have to rewatch it again, but
thumbs
you
up.
didn't hate watching it.
It's not thumbs up. It's like thumbs at a 3/4 above not poop. So
That's
it
still a
was
passable grade for you.
the first half is very strong. Again, it gets a little soap opera in tone at the end, and then there's a bit where she comes in and she's crying 'cause she thinks Idgie. This is Kathy Bates thinks Idgie has passed away, but then it turns out it was Idgie's roommate, so Idgie went home, and then all this stuff, and it's like I was okay with that. So it's really just
Mhm.
that I thought that whole they had to clean up the whole murder mystery, but
Right.
how they did it, I thought was just like
Too hokey.
they got a little cheap right there, got a
Okay.
little hokey. I like the fact that it was the priest that got him out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I like because there's a bit of all the women are victims, all the dudes are jerks,
Mm-hmm.
but then the priest comes through, Grady comes through, the sheriff, he protects him from the KKK,
Mm-hmm.
gets Big George out of that
I
situation.
love Big George in this film.
He wasn't too altruistic and perfect, but neither was he like an evil villain. He was just a
Right.
decent guy. So it's like you got some again. I hate simplicity. You have some complexity. I'm like I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
So
this is a chick flick that I honestly I enjoy. If it's on TV, I'll sit
that
there
would
and
be
I'll
my
watch it.
big lament. Is like instead of they could have just been like two people walk out of the courtroom and be like, yeah, they didn't have the evidence. She's
Mhm.
free to go, and then replace the whole courtroom sequence with a steamy lesbian scene, and I would have been happy with that. I would have been like thumbs up, like absolutely. But they went soap opera instead, so it's just like, it was good. It was okay.
You
It's
know
a
what?
passing grade.
It gets a passing grade, and
Hmm.
that's surprising from you.
Yes, I was surprised as well.
Wow, good job, Mrs. Cracker.
I just hope we hear anything you said.
You
Probably not.
No?
People will just have to decipher our responses.
can do subtitles.
What was the? Yeah, it'll have to be like Chewbacca, because
Oh,
all
you
they're
don't think
No,
because
it's like the Charlie
because
Brown cartoon.
yeah,
The wah, wah, wah.
because of the microphone, all we're gonna is and they'll be like, oh, her name was Ruth.
Oh, she fed him lettuce and a grape.
Yeah, that is a healthy guy.
Yeah, but in the end, this and Ghost are like my two favorite chick flicks. I will sit and watch every time. We've got a Prelude coming up.
Oh, is that
Now
on
we
the
know.
list now?
But this is a fun chick flick. It's not one of those that
Where was you rate this in relation to Ghost?
this is something that it's on Netflix. I wouldn't be like, hey, I'm in the mood for Fried Green Tomatoes. But if my wife puts it on, I'll sit down and watch it and enjoy it. If it's on TV, I'll sit down and watch it and enjoy it.
So that's it for the like I can't, man.
It's good.
Ghost. Are we talking
admit
about
it.
Ghost now?
No.
Ghost?
Fried green.
Fried Green Tomatoes. I highly enjoy it. He says it's above poop. This is the Whitey the White Guy show. I'm Cracker. This is Whitey.
Peace out.
Good
Good journey.
journey. Peace out.